Hi everyone, welcome to episode 77 of the Arieknits podcast. My name is Ariel and this is a video podcast where I talk about all the things that I have been knitting and spinning on for the past week. This week I didn't work on all of the projects that I have on my needles right now. I think there was just like one that I didn't touch at all this week, but three of them I have made, I think, pretty significant progress on, and so I'm excited to share that with you all today. And I have one finished object, almost finished, and I have two that were finished objects from last week that I want to talk more in depth with you all on it today. And I also have slightly bigger acquisition section for you all as well, and it's pretty fun. It's exciting. I got a couple of orders in the mail. They just happened to show up this week, and then I also have a couple of unexpected things that I have acquired this week as well. So yeah, acquisitions will be at the end. Right now, let's talk about what I am wearing. This was a finished object from last week. This is the Superlative sweater by Samantha Guerin, and the yarn I used is arieknits Boucle DK, and then that's for like the main part of the sweater, and then for the edging I used the arieknits Cashmere DK in the colorway Oxide for both the Boucle and the DK yarn. And I knit size 2. I used US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needles to knit this. And final measurements, I got 38 inches in circumference, which gives me around 8 inches of positive ease. And this ended up being 2 inches larger in circumference than the pattern for my size. And so my gauge was just probably a little big. But otherwise, it is wearable, and I think that this is something that I probably will wear pretty often when it's cold enough to wear. I do have some thoughts that I don't like about this pattern and kind of how it came out, but I want to first start off by saying that I really like this yarn, and so I really like Boucle yarn, and so how I feel about this sweater kind of doesn't have anything to do with the yarn itself, because I really like the Boucle yarn. I just don't think that, I think if I could make this again, I would make a size up. That is kind of just like the general feeling I have about this, and I think that part of the reason for that is because there's not really any shaping happening for this sweater, and so I think it kind of bunches in some areas that I don't like. I think for some people it probably won't bother them at all, but for me it's just, I notice it, and I don't know, there's certain things about how something feels or where it feels too tight that would kind of bother me a little bit. But I have worn this a couple of times this week, and I gotta say, like, I really like how it feels. I just wish it was a little bigger, I guess. But I am within the range of the recommended ease for this sweater. As I said earlier, I do have 8 inches of positive ease with this sweater, and so I think I'm actually right at the larger end of the recommended ease for it. And so, yeah, it just seems interesting. Anyway, let me get into it because I need to talk about details so you know exactly how I'm feeling. Okay, first actually let me stand up and so you can see the sweater. So here it is. You can see, oh, and I talked about modifications last week, but I'll go over them again this week since I'm wearing it. I changed the hem on this sweater, and so I did use the non-Boucle yarn to do the hem. However, instead of doing the pattern recommended, which was knit and stockinette, it was a folded hem basically, where you knit stockinette, you do a purl row, which ends up being where you fold and then continue in stockinette and sew it down. I did not do that. I did a 1x1 rib with a tubular bind off right at the bottom, and so that's what I did for the hem. And Same for the sleeves, 1x1 rib, tubular bind off, which is what they state in the pattern, but I only did it for about an inch. I think the pattern says like 3 inches maybe. So I did make the cuffs shorter, and with that, that also meant that I knit more of the sleeve in boucle to make sure that I got the length I wanted for my arm. And the length worked out well, I think. And then neck band, it's also 1x1 rib in the non-boucle yarn, tubular bind off, but the number of stitches I picked up was for size 3, which is 1 size up from the number instructions that I was working for the rest of the sweater, and it is still kind of tight. It's not wearing, it's actually okay. Like, it's not like it's choking me while I'm wearing it. It's just getting it over my head when I'm putting it on and taking it off that kind of, it's a little tight. So I just have to be careful with that. And yeah, so this is what, I guess 8 inches of positive ease looks like. Let me just do that thing where I hold my arms out so you can see the construction of the sweater a little bit better. It is basically a rectangle as far as like this body. It's a drop shoulder. So as you can see, my shoulder is here. And if you look closely at the boucle, this is where the sleeve starts. But it is a straight line from here down to the body of the sweater. Unlike a lot of Andrea Mowry patterns that are drop shoulder, where you actually have like an increase of stitches under the arm, and so that the kind of like, I guess, the drop part of the shoulder is actually further out on your arm. And I think for me that is maybe because I am used to Andrea Mowry's patterns being that way. I don't know, but for me that is where some of the problems for me kind of start, because the ease for the circumference right here and for my body, I really like. However, because it's just straight up into my shoulders, it still is definitely dropped, right? Because there's all of this room from my actual shoulder to where the sleeve starts. However, from right where my underarm is, I feel like when I put my arm down, which is how I am usually when I'm in a sweater, it really bunches up under here, and you can kind of see that like just over here. It just gets really bunchy, and I really don't like the feeling of things being bunched up under my arm. And so to me it gives me that feeling of like wearing a really big sweater and then putting another like jacket over, and then everything kind of like bunches under my arm, and I don't like that feeling. It's like how I don't like clothes to be really tight on me and to be like sticking everywhere. I don't like tight clothing, and I don't like my underarm to have clothes like bunched up and for it to feel like there's something under my arm. And so that is kind of like my only issue with how it feels on with it. I will say after some time, if I like stop thinking about it, then I don't notice it as much. But when my attention comes back to it, I'm like, oh, there's like stuff under my arms. So that's the only thing. And so that is why I think that if I went a size up, this line would be even more down on my arm, because the whole circumference of the sweater would be bigger, and then I would probably not have as much bunching. That's kind of what my guess is going to be, because this armhole is quite small for it to be this high up on my arm, I guess. Like if it was a little bit lower and still the same circumference, maybe would have fit better. One thing I don't think I mentioned last week that I want to mention this week about the sleeves is that for my size, I followed the instructions for the decreases, but I thought the decreases were worked kind of strangely. So you can't really see it on my arm, but if I show you the whole sleeve, I believe, so you pick up stitches around the armhole, and you work straight for a certain amount, and for me, I think it was about here. And then the decreases, for my size, only were worked for this amount of length. And then the rest from here, which is pretty much my elbow, all the way down to my wrist, is all worked straight, and then some decreases right at the end to kind of get closer for the cuff. But yeah, the sleeve decreases only happen for this amount of length on the sleeve, and so it's not proportioned out, I feel like, quite nicely, or, you know, I don't know why it's kind of like just over here. But, you know, as far as like, there's nowhere that there's positive ease the entire length of my arm, which I like for a sleeve, and so those decreases don't bother me as far as fit goes, but I just thought it was kind of weird that was a thing. Of course, I could have done my own decrease amount and rate for it to work better for me, but I followed the instructions, and again, fit-wise, it's not like it got too narrow anywhere really quickly, so it's fine. It's just something I did want to point out, is that the decreases for this size 2, were just like this amount. But yeah, I love the color of this yarn. I love the feel of boucle yarn, and so I will say I am a little sad that I don't love this sweater more, but I think it's just one of those sweaters where maybe I don't like it as much, but I'm still going to wear, if that makes sense. Actually, it probably doesn't make sense, but there are some outfits I have in my closet that I don't really like, but I like wearing, or I will wear. Is that weird? Does that happen to you too? Like, I think there's sometimes, actually, I've realized this for, like, sometimes I'll get as like a Christmas present, like some top, and I'm like, I would never buy that for myself, but for some reason it ends up being a top I wear all the time. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know, that might be kind of weird, but I feel like that might be this sweater for me. It's just, I really want to like it, and I do like a lot of aspects of it. There's just some things about it that I don't really like, but I'm still going to kind of wear a lot, probably, just because it is comfortable, except for the underarm thing. But overall, you know, I think it looks fine on me. It just, how it feels under the arm, that's kind of the only thing that feels really weird for me for this sweater. And also taking it off and putting it on, the neck hole is too small. But that could also be my problem. My tubular bind off might have been too tight, but anyway, that is, I think, all I have to say now about the Superlative sweater. One thing, though, that I'm very happy about is that I will finally match my friend Megan, who finished her Superlative sweater so long ago. I was just waiting for the rest of us to finish our Superlative sweaters, and she made hers in a different color, but now we'll have matching but different color sweaters, and so that I am happy and excited for this sweater. So yeah, that is my finished object from last week that I am wearing this week, so that you can all see how it looks. And next up, it was another finished object from last week, but it wasn't finished drying, and so I want to show it to you all now. This is the Reversible cross collar cowl from Purl Soho. It is dry now, and so I can hold it up so you can see the shape. And so if you remember, this was just knit in a stockinette, straight stockinette rectangle, and it's 2 colors, but you fold it. Here, the fold happens right at where the neck is. You fold it where the colors change, and then you sew it together at this edge here, and then you end up with a shape like this. And I think it kind of reminds me of it looks like a cowl version, or it reminds me of a cowl version of a half and half triangles wrap. So let me just put this on for you. I think it's really cute. I like the size. It is only one size, but I think since you're just making a rectangle, you can very easily modify it to whatever size you want. This is how it looks, and as you can see, it is 2 colors, and so you can kind of choose what color you want on the outside, and just to have that second color kind of like peeking out from underneath, and I think that that's really cute. Also a great way to use up extra yarn that you have. I used almost but less than 80 grams of fingering weight for each of these colors, and so if you just have, you know, a little bit left of a skein of fingering weight yarn kind of hanging around. Oh, and fingering weight, but I held them double. So it's kind of a DK weight. So this could also work with DK weight yarn. I think it looks really cute. It's very comfortable. It's snug but not super tight. It did block out really nicely. I think before I blocked it, it was kind of tight and I was a little worried, but it blocked out really nicely. And I do also want to show you the reversible-ness of it. So this is how I sewed it, was with this side facing. And the instructions, this is a free pattern on the Purl Soho site, so you can definitely go and like check it out really easily. The instructions I thought were really nice, and there are pictures, and I did want to show you. So if you just turn it inside out, you can have the other color on the outside with the other color on the inside. And I just want to show you, like, this is what the seam looks like on the other side. It does look slightly different. Like if you pull it enough, you can see, you know, the other side. That could have to do with how I seamed it. But, you know, I mean, who's really going to look that close, you know? So it's perfect, both sides, I think. And I'm going to just put it on this side. Yeah, and I think it's really cute. It's super comfortable. I think part of the comfort of this cowl is actually the yarn itself. The yarn I use is Pasley Knits Coastal Sock Base in the colorway River Sunsets, which is this pink, variegated, and in the Meadow, which is the blue, purple, green. And the Coastal Sock yarn from Pasley Knits is a I wish I brought a label, but it has some nylon in it, and so you can use it for socks. But it is a super fine merino, I believe, and so it's really, really soft. And so I'm very excited to see how this wears, and yeah, over time, how it wears, because it's so soft that it almost feel, you know, I would have the worry that it will kind of like felt or like pill really easily. But if there's nylon in it, it might also last really, just wear really well and not kind of like create holes or maybe not felt too much. I don't know. And so we'll have to wait and see, but I love how this yarn feels. It's perfect for having something touching your neck. Like, I don't find any part of this itchy at all. Not even like a slight tickle. Like, it's super nice and soft. It's very soft. I am enjoying this a lot. So yeah, I think this was the perfect project for my leftover skeins. If you remember, I was using the Pasley Knits Seasons sock sets for my blanket. I already forget what that blanket's called. But I had leftover yarn of all of the variegated full skeins, and so this is just one of the projects that I made using some of the leftovers, and I'm very, very happy with this. I will probably make more of these, but maybe not anytime soon, only because the weather is warming up, and so I might feel just like less motivated to work on a cowl that I can't wear right away. But it's a really easy project to work on, and really easy to put together in the end. And so I think it's also, you know, worked at a DK weight, and so it works up quickly. Like, it's a great project. So yeah, I am very happy with this, and I just can't wait for it to be colder weather later in the year so that I can wear this even more. So that is the finished reversible cross collar cowl from Purl Soho. Oh, and I used US 7 needles, which is 4.5 millimeter needles, to knit this. I do believe I sized up my needles for this, but that was mostly because I didn't have US 6 size needles on hand. They were all part of other projects, but it worked out. So that is that, and then I do have one new finished object this week, and it's right behind me. This is the Stella Quilt cushion by Laura Penrose, and my plan is to make 5 of these total before the end of the year, and 4 of them will be Christmas presents, and this one is going to be for me. This was kind of like my test version, and I finally finished it. However, I did not block it yet. I was planning on blocking it for today's video, and I just forgot because I just put it over this pillow I had, and then I just kept using it, and I forgot to wash it. But I'll just show it to you anyway in its current state. And then when I wash it, I'll bring it back on the podcast to show you all if it got bigger or not. Anyway, before I go further, Stella Quilt cushion by Laura Penrose. Most of the yarn I use, let me start with the front first. So all of the contrast colors for the front is Woolberry, Fibercoat, Berry Cashmere base, which is a fingering weight yarn. This entire pillow I use fingering weight yarn held double to get a DK weight yarn. And I use 8 different colorways from the Woolberry and of Green Gables collection. I do have all of the colors listed down below. There's all kind of a lot, but if you have a specific question on a color, just let me know in the comments. And let's see. Oh, the white main color for the front is a yarn that I dyed myself. I dyed it just a slightly less yellow white color, and I really like how that came out. I really like the color of that, so I will be dyeing more of that sometime soon for the next pillows I have to make. Then for the back, which is what I have been working on for the past 2 weeks, is this. This yarn is actually 2 different fingering weight yarns held together, and so one of them is Woolberry Fibercoat Berry Sock base in the colorway Cliffhanger, which is the variegated colorway, and then I used a tonal from Explore Knits in the Denali sock base in the colorway Formaggio. And so I really like how that turned out. Slight variegation. It almost, it kind of looks tweedy, like the colors, because it is like slightly black, and some kind of like white. Kind of looks like it's tweed, but it's not. And I did the envelope closure for this pillow. So I did not sew in the pillow. This is going to be just like a cover that you can take out the pillow. And so this is how it looks. That you can close it like this. And let's see. This is the pattern for the pillow. Has a worsted weight version or a DK weight version, and so I did the DK weight version. I used US 4 needles, 3.5 millimeter needles for this, which I did have to size down, I think 2 sizes, because my gauge was it was too big with the recommended needle size. And I think those are all the details. Let's see. I love the front of the pillow. I think it's very cute. Back of the pillow. This felt a little long to work on. It is worked in a diagonal. I forget which corner I started in, but you start in, actually what corner do you start in? It's either this corner or this corner, and it's worked, oh no, it's gotta be this one. I'm pretty sure it's this corner. You can see the rows are pointed this way, and so the first half working on the back of the pillow feels like it takes forever, because you increase until you get to this midpoint here, where it is like the most amount of stitches you'll have working on the back. And the second half felt a lot better because you're decreasing, and decreasing always feels really nice when you're working on a bigger piece of a project. And then working on this flap. So this flap is, you pick up stitches from the front, and then you work down straight this way. And there are instructions for how to knit it so that you pick up on the sides here as well, so that you don't have to go back and seam together the sides. If it's difficult to do though, and the pattern does state this, you can just knit this flap straight because there's no increasing or decreasing. You can knit it straight and then sew it on the ends or on the sides here, but I did want to try out the pattern with picking up the stitches at the same time as you go down here so that I won't have to sew in the sides. And then the edge here, right, or the bind off is an I-cord bind off, which is worked as your normal I-cord bind off, and that was pretty easy. So overall, picking up the edges here while working the flap, I will say was actually kind of difficult. And actually my difficulty started with doing the picking up stitches from this front section. I think I redid it like 5 times. The first time I accidentally picked up from this end, and so I picked up the perfect amount of stitches at the rate that the pattern says, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's never happened to me before. Amazing. And I worked a few rows and I was like, oh no, I think I was supposed to pick up from the front, and I just misread the instructions. So, it was not the pattern's fault, it was my fault. I had to rip it all out, and then I had to go and pick up from the front piece. And because the front piece is the squares that are pieced together, I had the hardest time spacing out my pickup stitches to end up with the right amount of stitches at the end. It just took me so long. I ended up doing the math. How many stitches, and again, it's not hard, but how many stitches I'm supposed to pick up total, divide by 4, because there's 4 squares here, and so that I would know for each square section here how much stitches I'm supposed to pick up, and I still got it kind of off. So it really was trial and error for this one. I'm hoping for the future pillows it goes better. So it's just something I need to pay a bit more attention to. I did do that at night when I was kind of tired, and so that's probably part of it. It's most definitely part of it, but yeah, that is what happened. And then the picking up for the sides, it was kind of difficult, I will say. I think if you don't want anything kind of finicky to doing that, maybe opt for knitting it flat and then sewing down the sides. I think I will still probably do the technique of picking up on the sides for the flaps for my future pillows, but it was kind of finicky. I was a little worried that I was going to break my needles while I was doing it, because there is one side. I think by saying, I won't be giving away any secrets, but if you look, like this side, you pick up like in that kind of like those edges, and one side of the pillow, the edges were very open, and so it was very easy to pick up from there and like knit into it. But so that side was fine. However, there was one side, this side, where even if I pull it apart, like it's really, really tight. Like the stitches here are so tight, and so I went to pick it up. It was just so tight, and when I had to knit into it, I felt like my needles might break. So thankfully they didn't, but it was just kind of a struggle, but only on one side, which I thought was kind of funny. So yeah, other than that, the pattern says that this should fit, as long as you match your gauge. That's why gauge is important for this project. It should fit a pillow that is 20 inches by 20 inches. And the pillow that I currently have in this is not. I think it might be like 18, 17, around there, inches. And so it's smaller than 20 inches by 20 inches for a pillow. The pillowcase is a little loose. However, this pillow that I have in it is kind of a placeholder. I am actually going to buy a pillow insert that is 20 inches by 20 inches. And as I said earlier, I haven't washed the pillowcase yet. So, and because it's all knit and garter stitch, I am expecting for it to grow possibly quite a bit. And so it doesn't concern me. I'm not really concerned that the pillowcase is going to be too small for a 20-inch by 20-inch pillow. But I guess, yeah, I just have to buy that pillow and then we'll see. And then wash this and then see how it fits. But that is part of like me testing this pillow out first for my version, just to see what size it ends up being and what size pillows I'm going to have to buy for when the presents actually become a thing. But either way, I mean, yeah, it's a little loose. It's not tight on this pillow that I have currently. But it also doesn't look like it's really sagging anywhere. So it could also work. I'd be fine with it living on this pillow as well. But yeah, it's so cute. And this is my first knit. I feel like this is my first knit pillowcase. It's gotta be, because I don't remember making one in the past, and I really like it. I never thought that I would be into knitting a home decor type of thing, but this is very enjoyable to knit, and so I'm hoping that I still find it enjoyable to knit for 4 more pillows to go. So in order for me to stay on track, the goal is to finish 1 pillow every 4 weeks. And so now that this is done, this upcoming week, I'm going to start another one, the second one, and yeah, I'll start probably with the same colors that I did the first time, which I think was this half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's the goal, is 8. Basically just half of the front 1 week. Second week is the other half. Third week is a little over half of the back. And then fourth week is the rest of the back plus the flap. So, yeah. And then also on that note, okay, so the white colored yarn is yarn that I have dyed specifically for these pillows, and so I will have to dye more of that yarn coming up very soon. And for the back of the pillows, I have decided, because I really like the look of having a different color, full, almost solid color for the back compared to the front, versus I was considering just using the white for the back as well. I think the white would look nice on the back, but there's something about having that different color for the back that I really like. And so I did use Yarn and Stash for my version. I just wanted to see how much yarn I needed for it. Turned out I needed pretty much 3 in total, I guess. Yeah, yardage wise, 3 fingering weight skeins. Actually maybe a little less than that, but I will have to have 3 skeins of a color to do the entire back. And so now that I know that, I am going to start dyeing up the colors for the rest of the pillows for the back, because the goal is for the presents, they will all have the favorite color of the person that I'm giving it to. I'm giving it to my cousins and my sister. So yeah, I will be on a mission to try and dye up some colors that I think look cute and that hopefully they'll like for the back of their pillow. But all of the fronts will be the same. But yeah, okay, so that is my Stella Quilt cushion. I'm very, very happy with it. I'm just going to put it in the back of my chair now. This is how I've been using it. It's just putting it in the back of my chair and kind of leaning on it. And so that's been really nice. So yeah, Stella Quilt cushion. That's my one finished object for the week. Onto my whips now. I have 3 works in progress. Let's start with, and just wanted to mention, I did not have any progress done on my Verglass wrap this week, and so you will not be seeing it this week. And And part of the reason I didn't get too much or as much knitting done this week because I did have my sister flew up and visited me for this past week, and so yeah, just had a bit more time spending with her than knitting. But anyway, that's just, that's what happened. But also kind of fun. I also got her input on the pillow that I was just talking about. So, yeah. Okay, whips this week. I have the Downtown Hoodie by Tori U. I made lots of progress on this. And so here it is. Ooh. Yarn I'm using, both colorways are Coast to Coast yarn in the classic DK base. The main color, which is the dark purple, is Earthen, and then the contrast color for the stripes, which is, it looks like a very light purple gray, I would say, is Cortinarius. And I have just finished the stripes for the body, which is really exciting. And I am knitting size 2. I'm using US 6 or 4.0 millimeter needles to knit this. And yeah, I think when we talked last week, I think this is my stitch marker right here for the week. So I was just doing the raglan increases. I was very close to finishing the raglan increases. Finished that, as you can see, split 4 sleeves, worked on body, finished, I think this is 8 contrast color stripes for the body, and now just working on finishing up the rest of the body in the main color. And this was a really nice project to have because besides the striping, it's just stockinette in the round with DK weight yarn, so it felt like I was making a lot of progress because DK weight yarn, and yeah, it's just really nice to work with. And I wanted to mention the pattern says to use a jogless stripe technique for the stripes at the beginning of round, and so I am doing that. I'm doing the technique where you knit with when you join and knit with your new color, when you come around for the second round, instead of knitting the first stitch, you just slip it and continue knitting, and then you just keep knitting. And that has worked for me in the past, and so I definitely felt comfortable doing that this time around. And so I did want to just show you that edge here. I mean, you can tell that there is a slight kind of like disturbance, but I think it's not bad. I think it looks a bit more, it looks better than if I didn't do the technique and you'd have that kind of like offset of the stripes. So yeah, from far away, I mean, I think it looks fine. Looks better than if I didn't do it, I think. So yeah, so that's worked out really well. As far as carrying up my yarn, I'm not cutting and rejoining every stripe. I'm just carrying it up and just kind of being careful with the tension there. So yeah, maybe I can just show you on the inside. That's what that looks like when I'm carrying up the yarn for each of the stripes. And yeah, so I don't know, it's fun to work on. I've been wanting to make this pattern for a while, so excited it's on my needles and that I've made progress. And it was kind of unplanned when I bought this yarn. Well, when I bought this yarn, it was not planned to become a Downtown Hoodie. It just so happened that I had enough yarn in these colorways to make it, and for the colors to be very, very similar to Tori U's version of it, and so that also makes me very happy. And I can't wait to have another knitted hoodie because I love my other knitted hoodie. So this one should be really, really cozy. That's what I'm hoping for out of this. So that's my Downtown Hoodie. And let's see, my next one is my Mala top by Sari Nordland. So this one is like a sleeveless top or kind of like a vest. And I actually was able to get this far on it, which is really nice. I connected under the arms for this. And so last week, I believe I was just finishing up the back. This is my stitch marker. So the back is worked first down till here. You pick up, you can see where those pickups are in the back here. For each of the sides, pick up, and then you join in the front, knit for the front a little bit, and then join under the arms for right where the armholes are. And this is where I'm at right now. I love how this stitch pattern is working up. I love it. I'm so happy with it. And I'm really glad that I mentioned last week that my gauge is kind of off with this. It's a little small, and so I did decide to knit size 2 instead of size 1 for this, and just knowing that I didn't want the fabric of this to be too open and holey, and so I just kind of went with the gauge that I have and just knitting a size up to get the circumference to be a bit wider. Yeah, because I can knit the length to whatever I want. But seeing it on camera, like even if it's kind of stretched out like this, like you can still clearly see that stitch pattern and the cables, and so that makes me really happy. I was so worried it was going to look too loose. But yeah, it's looking so good. I love it. I really, really, really like it. I'm glad that I finally got myself to cast this on. I had this yarn since Flock last year, and it was going, like, I always had plans to make it into this top, and so I just kind of needed, I don't know, I just needed something to motivate me to do that, and so yeah. So now we're here. Definitely need more body worked on before, you know, yeah, need more body on this, but it's looking really good. Armhole might be kind of big. I don't think so. It's always hard to tell. I think there is some kind of pickup for the armholes done later, so usually when that happens, the armhole might look a little big at first, but once you pick up and knit a little bit, it makes it smaller because you're adding more fabric there. But yeah, speaking of yarn, I am using Sorella Classic Sport base in the colorway Brick. This is also a gorgeous color. I love this color so much. And I am using US 4 or 3.5 millimeter needles to knit this. And I'm using metal needles specifically. I'm also using the Sorella needles for this because I knew that the gauge was kind of big for the yarn. Like, it's sport weight yarn. I am using sport weight yarn, but it still feels like I think you can comfortably make this with a DK weight yarn. But because I knew I would need my gauge to be a little bigger, I decided it worked out well to use metal needles because my stitches usually end up bigger with metal needles. And so that is what I went with, and I think it's working out really nicely. So yeah, that's my quick progress update on the Mala top. It looks so cute now. And this was like one full skein of the sport weight yarn. I was working on it this morning and I reached the end of my my first yarn ball, just like right here. Oh my gosh, yeah, right here. And so I was like, oh good, I don't have to, when I show it to you on the podcast, I don't have to worry about carrying my ball of yarn with me and for it getting all tangled in the rest of the mess that's on the chair next to me. But yeah, so that is the Mala top by Sari Nordland. And then I have one more thing that I was working on this week, and this is my test knit for my friend Bridget. And speaking of yarn, like I have to just carry this yarn. Don't want it to get tangled. Okay, I also made good progress on this. This has been really fun to work on, and so it's no surprise that I've gotten this far already. This is the Vice Versa shawl by Bridget, and yeah, here's what it looks like right now. It looks so good on camera. Let me show the other side. I love the colors. I'm so happy with the color choice for this. So, first things first, test knit. Vice Versa Shawl by Bridget. Yarn, I am using 2 different colors. I have, and 2 different kinds of yarn. I have Rerum Natura Ulyss in the colorway Dore, D-O-R-E, in this really pretty golden color. And then I am using hand spun. This is the Big Little Yarn Co. fiber, the Rambouillet wool in the colorway Satsumaimo Pie. And I spun this up as a chain ply yarn, and so this is what it looks like right now, all wound up. And so yeah, this color combination is so good. I'm so happy with it, and as you can see now I have more of it knit up. It looks so good. It is a 2-color brioche, and so that's why you kind of see one color more present on one side and the other color more present on the other. I love that. If you stretch it, you kind of get more of those 2 colors. But yeah, you can see pretty clearly with the hand spun the striping that's happening, because the hand spun was multicolored braid, and I love that. Looking very good. And this shawl construction is knit. It's a triangular shape, but you do knit from like the center spine first. And so here's the center spine, and I'm working this half of the shawl first. And there's decreases on one side, and then it'll be mirrored on the other side, but with the other color as like that main color on the other side. So you'll get to see both sides of that 2-color brioche on both sides of the shawl, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's turning out really nicely. The squish on this is amazing. I think both of these yarn like fiber qualities are really nice together, and oh, it's going to be so good. I love working on this because I love working the brioche stitch, and I love knitting with my own hand spun. It's so fun. I love it. And because I wash, when I finish spinning my yarn and I wash it and, you know, do the finishing for the yarn, when I wash it, I do wash it in a wool wash that smells good. And so when I'm working on this, I just smell the wool wash on the yarn, and it's so good. I really like good smelling things, and so having my yarn smell good and having my finished objects smell good is just, yeah, one of the best parts about knitting, I feel like, and spinning. But yeah, this is the shawl. It's working out really nicely. I'm very happy with how it's turning out. I am almost done with this half. I was hoping to get this done before the podcast, but I just ran out of time. But I'm almost there. It will all decrease all the way down. So yeah, this is what I have. Oh my gosh, the colors match really nicely with the sweater. This would look so good with the sweater. The sweater I'm wearing. It's like, oh. Yeah, okay, I cannot wait for this shawl to be done. It's going to be so good. Okay, yeah. Oh, I am knitting the size 1. There are 2 sizes for this, and size 1 is the smaller size, although still a good size for this. It's going to be so squishy and so nice and fit, yeah, so nicely around the neck. Oh, I just can't wait. Look, I can just... Ugh, it's so cute already. Okay, I'm using US 3 needles. I did size down from the pattern recommended needle size because my brioche, I've noticed across all of my brioche knits that I've knit, my brioche just is very loose. And I don't know what it is, but it's loose. And so I did go down a needle size, and I've measured, and I am like spot on gauge at least the sections I've measured were very good on gauge, so worked out well. And yeah. Oh, it just makes me so happy to look at and to smell and to squish. It's just a great project overall. Also so great for using handspun yarn. It's a great handspun project. So yeah, that is progress update on the vice versa shawl. Okay, and that is actually all the updates I have for my knitting projects. I have a quick spinning update, I guess. Might look the same from last week. I'm still spinning with the little Fiber Co. Rambouillet. I'm like all about the Rambouillet wool right now. The colorway is Eclipse, and it's a gorgeous dark brown black color. It's so pretty, so moody, and I really like it. I didn't get as much spinning done this week as I maybe normally would or did in the week before. So I'm still on. I split, this is one braid. I split the braid into 4 sections, and I'm spinning them end to end right after each other. And I'm still on section, or like the 3rd section of the braid. So I still have some ways to go. I think if I put in maybe like, I don't know, a few more hours, maybe like 4 or 5 hours, I could finish this first braid, but yeah. Anyway, it's just working out really nicely. I really like it. And yeah, I spun a little bit this week. That's all I have to show you though for that. Okay, next up is the acquisitions, and I think this is going to be a slightly longer acquisition section than in recent previous ones, just because, yeah, I got some things. So let me start off, since we were talking about fiber, I'll start off with the fiber acquisitions. I did get my Nest Fiber Club braid for May, and this colorway is called Beehive, and it's in BFL. I would say not really my colors because there's no pink, but I really like it. I think oh my gosh, I think I mentioned last week, I was like, I think been really liking like the golden yellow, golden brown kind of colors lately, and so the fact that this has like that golden yellow, orangey brown color, I'm like, ooh, that's nice. I'm very interested to see how these colors mix together when I spin them up together. My preferred method for spinning with Nest Fiber Club fiber is some kind of fractal spin. I think the way that the colors are blocked out is really nice to do a fractal spin, so that's been my default, and so yeah, I'm just really curious to see how this turns out. I think it's really cute. I just love all the colors I've gotten from this fiber club, and yeah, I'm just so really excited to be part of this fiber club. I haven't spun with a Nest Fiber braid in a while. Yeah, because I was doing my whole sweater spin from the start of this year, and I did a couple other smaller skeins. I haven't done a Nest one in a while, and so maybe after I do my current one, which is the Little Fiber Co. I have 3 different braids of Little Fiber Co. I want to do for one project, so that still might take me some time to go through 3 braids, but after that I want to go back and spin some of my Nest Fiber. But yeah, so this is the May colorway, very cute. And then, okay, I mentioned my sister came and visited me this week, and she stayed with me for the week, and one of her days that she was here, she went to Bainbridge Island and went to La Mercerie, as I have suggested to her to go for no particular reason, but just to check it out. I still haven't been to their new location on Bainbridge Island yet, so my sister got to see it in person before me, but she FaceTimed me while she was in there, because I told her if she finds something that she likes the color of, I'll knit something for her. spin and knit something. I told her, look at the fiber, and if there's a color you like, I'll spin it for you, and I'll knit something for you. I don't know when that's going to happen, if I'm going to be completely honest, but she picked out this fiber, Malabrigo fiber. It is a 100% merino wool, and I haven't spun with fiber from Malabrigo yet, and so I'm actually pretty excited to try this out. This is the colorway Deep Ocean, and she is, as far as her favorite colors, she is not into pink. She likes pretty much any color besides pink, which it's just the opposite of what I like. So it's not a surprise to me she got blue, but I think that this is very pretty. I can appreciate this blue, and I'm really looking forward to spinning with this, also because it is merino, and merino's so soft, so that should be fun to spin. And I am thinking that I will, so once I'm done spinning this, what am I going to knit for her with it? I think I want to knit her a top. She lives in Hawaii, so it's hot. I don't think I really want to... Knitting her a sweater probably is not going to work out well, or that, might not be so useful. So I want to knit her some kind of top. And I have some ideas in my head. And so you're like, if I only got one of these, how am I going to knit her a top? I want to knit something where this is like a contrast color, or just like half. Like I want the top to be knit with some hand spun and like another yarn, and maybe I could like hand dye that yarn so that it matches this in some kind of way, either contrast matching or like closer blue kind of matching. So I won't be spinning this probably in the next couple of months, but that should give me a lot of time to just kind of think about what I want to knit for her with this once I'm done spinning it. So that was number 1 from La Mercerie. And then, because she FaceTimed me and she also sent me a picture of the fiber wall they have there, I was like, oh, can you zoom in? Can you zoom in on that side there? And I was like, could you get me one of those fiber braids, please? So she picked this up for me. This is Very Me colors. This is Bramble Ridge, untreated Cormo. I love Cormo. I've been wanting to get more Cormo fiber to spin, and so this is exciting. And the colorway is Mindful. It's like the perfect pastel colors. It's so cute, and I'm very looking forward to spinning with Cormo again, because I really enjoyed it the first time I did. So yeah, very, very cute. Thanks, sister, for getting this for me. And then my sister was also here with her boyfriend, actually, and so he went to Bainbridge with her and looked in La Mercerie as well. And I will be knitting him a beanie that he saw in the store, and he said, I want that exact beanie. So he got the yarn for it as well, and so I have it in my hands with me. This is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. I've never knit with this yarn before, and so that's also exciting. And the colorway is Iceberg. I think I actually have seen, like, I one time was like looking on the Brooklyn Tweed website and was looking at all the colors for something, I don't know, back kind of a while ago, and I remember seeing this color and I was like, that's really pretty. It's I'm gonna hold it here and hope that the camera focuses at some point. It has kind of like flecks of different, so it's like a main base of like a light blue, but there's flecks of kind of like a more like some dark blue and also some like bright blue in there, and I think that that's going to work up really nicely. It says American Targhee Columbia wool, and I love spinning with Targhee. So, and I guess I've also knit something with my hand spun Targhee, but I don't think I've ever bought a Targhee wool. So that should be, again, I'm just like excited to work with a different wool, different yarn than I usually do. So yeah, this feels really light. It is, does it say how much grams this is? I don't think so. This is worsted weight 140 yards or 128 meters. So yeah, I will actually have to buy a second skein to knit the hat, but I'm not gonna knit it anytime soon. I told them this might be a Christmas present, so yeah, I have time to get more yarn. Unless I'm worried about colors matching, I don't know. Anyway, it's fine. But yeah, I'll be knitting him a beanie in this color, and I was like, oh, isn't it? When they came back, I was like, oh, can you show me the fiber and the yarn, please? And they like, took it out, and I was like, ooh, they all kind of like, they all have blue in it. They all kind of like look nice together, all three of them. So, yeah. It's at the end of my, oh no, I have one more thing that I did get, but that was everything that my sister got from La Mercerie this week. And then I did, like, just today get this in the mail. This is my Woolberry Collective skein from, I think, last month. I forget what the, like, you order it at the beginning of the month, but then they don't ship out until the end of the month type of thing. So this is probably May. This is probably May's Collective colorway, one of them. I got one skein of Berry DK in the colorway Chip, which it was the variegated color for the month. And yeah, I just like having some DK weight yarn in stash for things. So yeah, just got one. Okay, I think that is now all I have to talk about this week. It was a pretty okay week for me. It was just kind of hectic just because, we had guests and work. I didn't take off work or anything, so having guests, having work, although, my sister kept herself and her boyfriend entertained throughout the whole week. They just went out while we were working at home. So, yeah, I hope they had a great time. And yeah, I'm gonna miss them. It was kind of nice. But also, will be kind of nice to get back to a routine for the week. And let's see. Oh, I will not be able to make a video for next week's podcast. So I am really hoping. I haven't edited my second Spin With Me video yet, even though all of the video clips have been taken already. And it is the spin that I recorded of the Satsumaimo Pai fiber, which I am now knitting with. So, oh yeah, I won't have a video this coming week, a regular podcast video, but the goal is to have instead my second Spin With Me video come out that weekend so that you'll have something to watch. And even if you don't spin, I hope that you'll kind of just like keep it on to either be inspired or like, I don't know, maybe watching some spinning is relaxing. I know that is relaxing for me too, along with, listening to knitting podcasts. But yeah, I'll have some hopefully more cast on projects in the week after that, because there's things I want to cast on pretty soon. I guess one thing you will know is I will start my second pillow. So that should definitely be well underway by the next time I have my next regular podcast video. But until then, I hope that you have a great day. I hope you have a great next couple of weeks before I see you again. I love reading your comments down below on what you work on while you listen or watch the podcast. Let me know if you have any questions, if you want to see any more types of content from me, or if you're looking for something specific in my spinning videos. I know I only have one right now, but I do have 2 filmed. I just need to edit them. Come on, Ariel. But yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in next video. Bye.